What's going on, guys? Today we are out on a small trail near Wrightwood, California. Behind us here is Mount Baldy. That is the highest point in Los Angeles County. Around this time last year, we were actually on top of that mountain, and as you can see this year, it's still pretty snowy over there. We've had a unusually wet winter. This is a really pretty part of the country, and Wrightwood has the dubious honor of being a pretty remote town in Southern California with a high rate of disappearances. And today I wanted to talk about what happens when your desire to listen to black metal disappears. Impeccable segue, I know. So I suspect a lot of people deal with this. I deal with it, obviously, that's why I want to talk about it. And really, obviously applies to any genre of music that you listen to intensely. But I've noticed for me, usually around the beginning of a new year, my desire to listen to black metal specifically kind of drops off pretty sharply. I've spoken to a few other people who have this issue too, and I think probably it comes along, it goes with the territory of reviewing music regularly and just really trying to engage very intentionally with a specific genre of music. And then, crafting a year-end list, thinking about which albums are better than other albums, and just kind of putting so much thought into it that eventually it feels like a chore almost. And that, it just comes with the territory. There's nothing good or bad specifically about ranking music or just enjoying one genre of music above others. But there's kind of an inevitable point where you hit a burnout point with that specific genre of music. And I've been experiencing it this year a little more than usual, actually. So I just wanted to give a couple thoughts, give a couple I guess, techniques, I don't know, for lack of a better word, that I utilize when I'm really, really just not in the mood to listen to black metal. All right, so the first thing I do, this is a very obvious one, so I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way, is I listen to other genres of music. I have been listening to a lot of post-punk, dark wave stuff lately. It scratches a similar itch. It's kind of got a depressive, sad atmosphere to it, but it's just not metal at all in any way, obviously. And that's a really nice palate cleanse. And what I find is that after 2 or 3 albums of that, I'm ready to check out a metal album again. So I won't belabor the point on that one because it's pretty self-explanatory. If you are tired of a genre of music, listen to other genres. Self-explanatory, but still worth mentioning, because it also allows you to, for me at least, expand my palette in such a way that when I come back to black metal and really get back into it again, I start appreciating bands that maybe have similar styles to the stuff I was listening to outside of metal. It kind of expands my taste within black metal as well. So it's just sort of self-reinforcing. You start to enjoy more of the genre that you love but are kind of tired of at that point in time. The second thing I do, this one is a little, I guess a little less obvious, is instead of just like obsessing over checking out new albums, I go back to bands I love but have only listened to maybe 1 or 2 albums. I'll give an example of this. There's a band called Fearnask from Germany. They are a sort of ritual ambient / black metal project, and I believe in 2021 they released an album, and it was in my top 10 of that year, and I absolutely adored that album. I had never heard of them before. And so what I've been doing this year is revisiting earlier stuff in their discography, very intentionally, like listening to these albums 2 or 3 times in a week and just really engaging with those records very consciously. And what that does is it scratches that itch to listen to black metal without feeling like it's maybe a chore or something that I kind of have to do so I can churn out more reviews or something like that. It's something I'm doing for myself, I guess. I'm not just trying to review albums. I'm intentionally engaging with a band that I already know I love. It's not just like checking out an album, oh, I may like this, I'll put it on. It's like, I know I love this band. I'll almost certainly love previous albums that they've put out, so I'm going to listen to them and just really cultivate like a relationship, I guess, with that band in particular. That's been getting me through this little funk, and I'm coming out of it now. It helps too that a lot of really good records have been coming out the past few months, and so I'm kind of blossoming back into a fully functioning black metal fan. By the way, if you can see all these bugs flying around, please forgive me. It's probably a little distracting, but they are out in full force here. So a third thing I do, another kind of strange one, is I just listen to music with my wife. She is a pretty casual metal fan. She doesn't go out of her way often to listen to metal, but she also doesn't detest it. And a lot of the time, when we're in the car, we're listening to like an audiobook or just, you know, an album she wants to listen to. And what I found is that after 2 or 3 of her albums, I'm pretty ready to put on a black metal record again. And it's nothing against, you know, her music. I'm sure she wouldn't want to listen to, you know, 5 or 6 black metal records straight on a. She's shaking her head no right now. She wouldn't. And you know, it just kind of goes both ways. But it's I guess in a way it kind of forces you to remember what it is you love about that genre that you're listening to so frequently, and kind of remind you how much music there is out there that you don't necessarily love, and to really appreciate the music that you do love. Finally, and this is, I guess, more geared towards either like intense music nerds. That's probably a really cringe phrase, but that's the only thing that's coming to my mind right now. Intense music nerds, or people who like review stuff as a hobby. Do not treat it like a chore. Like, if you are feeling guilty, and I've seen people say this, and it's not even necessarily people who review stuff, it's just people who I know love a specific death metal, black metal. They love a specific style of music. And they'll say stuff like, oh, I put this album on and I didn't like 2 or 3 tracks and I had to turn it off because I've got so many other albums I need to listen to right now. And that's, to me, not a great attitude to have. I mean, it's fine to turn an album off if you're not clicking with it right away. I do that often too. But it's more the intention behind that sentiment that I think is kind of detrimental, because you're not obligated to check out everything that crosses your path. And that's something I struggle with a lot too. Like, if I see an album cover that looks good, I immediately feel like I need to add it to my playlist to check out. Or if I see a lot of people talking about an album, same thing, I'll add it to my playlist. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with checking out music. In fact, we love doing that, and it's great and fun and exciting. But there's I guess a flip side to that, where it becomes, I don't know, you start to feel guilty about not listening to stuff, or maybe not liking stuff that you see other people liking. You feel like you're doing something wrong, or you're falling behind on new music. And you know, most people don't feel like intensely negative about it, but I know some people do. I know some people feel maybe like guilty, or like they're not doing their duty as a fan or something. I don't know. It's tricky, but like, it's okay to just like take a break. You know, like this kind of goes back to the second thing I said. Just like, go listen to a band you love, even if it's Judas Priest, like objectively bad music. It's okay. Just go back and listen to those bands. I'm gonna leave that in. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't have to be a chore. And in fact, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're making it into a chore. And this is kind of just broader life advice in general. Not that I feel like I'm especially qualified to give life advice, but like, it's okay to do things just for the love of it. And it doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't have to be something that you're turning into like a product or content or something. You know, it's okay to just do something and enjoy it and be present with it in that moment. You know, that's something I've dealt with a lot in my life, is turning my hobbies into like intense outlets of like, you know, nonstop focus, and it kind of takes the joy out of it to an extent. And, you know, maybe even that's like kind of what's happening with like year-end lists, and then a couple months later being kind of tired of the genre in question. And it's fine, you know, I don't intend to stop doing reviews. It's just like, everybody needs to give themselves permission to just like chill for a bit and not feel like they need to create or produce. So I don't know how helpful this is. I don't know even necessarily that everybody deals with this, but I know a lot of people do. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on it. I didn't actually have a specific album I had in mind to review today, but I wanted to create a video. This is really beautiful. It's so cool to see snow in Southern California in June. And yeah, there's snow over here as well. So it's just really nice to be out here, and I just wanted to give some thoughts on this. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about these ideas in the comments. Like, subscribe, share the video, and have a great weekend.